What's up, guys? Adi here again from Gate 7 International, coming to you guys with the long awaited deep dive for Sime Vrsaljko. You got a little bit of a highlight clip. You guys asked for it, so we provided. Well done, Costa, to make that. That's going to be the first one. Hopefully, there's more to come. We did also see some of the requests for you guys to get some of the tactical analysis videos. We are trying to get those. There's just a myriad of course, media rights and copyright issues we have to go through first before we can provide those. Now, before we proceed with the deep dive, as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that button at the bottom right corner of the screen on YouTube so that you can always be notified anytime we go live, anytime one of these deep dives pops up, and you can stay up to date with all the latest and help us make this red and white community even bigger than it already is. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into it. I hope you guys like that clip again. These do take some time to put together. We're trying to do everything we can to make the best content we can for you. Now, a lot of you have been waiting for this for a while. It's been reported on and reported on. Every weekend they were saying he was coming to sign. Every weekend he's coming, he's coming. And finally, yesterday, Saturday, July 2nd, he did come and he was officially announced by the club. 30-year-old Croatian right back Sime Vrsaljko, turning 31 in October. Very excited to have him, and you'll see why in just a second. Sitting at 5'11" or 181 centimeters, he's pretty tall. He's not the tallest fullback we've ever seen, but he's got some size on him. At 76 kilos and 167 pounds, pretty lean considering his size, but altogether the guy does have some muscle. He's not too heavy, not too thick, so we do like to see that. In terms of his player profile, he is a traditional fullback. Physical, very solid defensively, moderate overlapping volume, very aggressive, very passionate, leaves everything 100% on the field. Most importantly for Coach Pedro Martins, though, the guy is very strict, very tactically set up and stays within the scheme that's laid out before him. This is why Diego Simeone loves him, loved him as a player, wanted him to stay because of these traits. In terms of how he carries the ball, I already told you guys in other episodes, he reminds me a lot of Vasilis Torosidis in this regard. Not fancy, knows very well what he can and cannot do with the ball. And because of that, he makes decisions based on that. And he is usually more successful than not. So the guy has played at, in my opinion, the highest level of football you can play at. La Liga is, in my opinion, the best league. Despite what everybody says about the Premier League, I do believe that La Liga is the best league in the world. And he's got great experience from there. Now, with Atletico Madrid, of course, he's played in both back four and back three setups, 4-4-2, 3-5-2. So he's got plenty of experience in those routes, even a little bit in the 4-3-3 that we've seen. As far as his profile in possession, he's not the progressive action driver. So don't expect him to be the one that's like the Rafinha, getting the ball, flowing the ball forward. That's not really what he does. He'll get forward in the final third. He'll be on the receipt, the outlet of those actions, but he's not going to drive that possession. Vision wise, don't expect anything. A lot of people liked some of the things that Kenny Lala could do in terms of his through balls and picking passes out like that. Didn't see a lot of that with Sime Vrsaljko. So he's a different mold of player, but that doesn't make him any less important, or it won't make him any less valuable. Now, I'll go into some specifics, primarily, of course, as always, starting with goal threat. In terms of goal threat, I've got something a little bit different for you guys. You guys had asked me before to do side-by-side comparisons to some of our current players, and I did that, but I got something different for you this time. Because we're bringing in a player from a top 5 league, I did a comparison with how he did based on other fullbacks in the top 5 leagues. So we have his statistics here in goal creation matched up with other fullbacks in his category and where he lies in that percentile. And from what we see in terms of his goal threat, it's very positive. He's up there in terms of his non-penalty goals and non-penalty XGs, one of the highest. Now, I'm not saying that he is going to be scoring for us as a wing back all the time. This He doesn't score very much. He had one goal. He had one goal last season and a couple of assists. But compared to the other fullbacks in the top 5 leagues, this was pretty good. In terms of the number of shots he gets, he doesn't get very many. He just happened to be very efficient, but this is how it is. If you look back season after season, he's like this. He's usually good for a goal or two a season and a couple of assists a season. It's pretty consistent, despite the fact that his shot volume is pretty low. Regarding his assists, again, he's up there, almost 80th percentile. Like I said, he only had 2 assists last season, so based on the time that he played and what he did, it's not like he's gonna give us double digit assists, but based on what other fullbacks have done in the top 5 leagues, it's solid, and based on what we've seen out of our fullbacks, the contribution we've gotten from our fullbacks, this is pretty good as well. So when it comes to the end product regarding or the goal threat, the goal contributions, at the very least, he's better than what we have, and in many cases, he's better than what's available in the top 5 leagues, and that counts for something. So, again, I'm gonna reiterate, he represents a larger goal threat than what we have, but don't expect this to be a goal or a goal contribution every other game. That's not what I'm saying. He's better compared to what's already been available. And regarding his assists and the context with that as well, all of it's coming from crosses. Not too many runs to the byline and playing the ball in, not too many other types of assists. All of his goal contributions in that manner, the assist manner or shot assist manner, they all come from crosses. Volume is pretty solid. The accuracy is okay. It's not the best. The important thing is that he's getting things consistently in the same area. So even though we don't see quite as many heads make connecting with the crosses he's playing in, we like to see that he's able to get them consistently in the same spot. Not like some of the criticisms of Oleg or even Kenny where they would go all over the place. Uh, Sime Vrsaljko seems to put everything just inside of that penalty marker, closer to where the goal is. So things will be in between where the penalty area is and closer to the goal mouth. That's where he likes to put everything. So, and when I say his cross accuracy is not that solid, we're talking 19%. It's not the worst, but it's not amazing. But again, even if he's not hitting heads all the time, as long as it's going into the same area, we see that he has that type of consistency. And that is going to be important at the very least for Olympiacos. Next up, we have build up and possession. So as you can see here, in terms of his volume, he's right about on average with a few things below average on the others. So not going to get a lot of touches in the penalty area. Not going to have a lot of progressive passes. There is a mistake here. I do see it says 72 touches in penalty area per 90. It's 0.72. There's a decimal missing. So before everybody freaks out, that is a typo. But moving forward, as I was saying, in possession, the statistics aren't amazing. There's not a lot of volume. Right on average with about everybody else in the top 5 leagues, which is good because this is in the top 5 leagues here. So average production there should be more than enough for what we expect in Greece. And as I briefly brought up in his player profile, he reminds me of Torosivis the way he carries the ball. So generally playing what's in front of him, not spurring progression actions forward, whether it's passes or runs, unless the space is there or unless there's a pretty clear outlet. The passing volume here is not quite Rafinha level of passing volume, but it's decent. It's right there average with fullbacks in the top 5 leagues with what we can expect. And this isn't due to a lack of skill. I wanna make that very clear. I think this player has skill and he's a pretty technical player, but he doesn't have a lot of flair, and he's also, if you remember Atletico Madrid, his time there, he didn't need to be the engine of possession. Atletico Madrid has engines of possession in the midfield that are quite good, and they don't have to rely on him for that. So it'll be interesting to see at Olympiacos, where our creativity and our engines in the midfield were lacking, especially last season, how he adjusts. But if he's not needed, this is going to be the role here. I think he would have the capacity to do more if asked to do more, but he wasn't at Atletico Madrid, so we don't have enough data to really tell us what he can and can't do. Um, As I mentioned already, not a lot of flair. Just like Dorosivis, he's going to rely on his physicality. If he sees space, he'll take it. If not, he'll stay back and play. But when he does take somebody on, it's usually because he knows he's going to win, and he does, and he's going to get by. Dribble, he had a dribble win percentage of about 60%, which is pretty good. But as you can see, in terms of the volume, he's only completing, uh, per 90 minutes, not even one dribble. So he doesn't do it very often compared to other fullbacks. And this may be something that's concerning to some people, especially when in Greece. But again, I'm not super worried because just like Dorosivis used to get forward when he had space in Greece, I think he will as well. So I'm not super concerned about the possession numbers in Spain, given that it was a top 5 league and given what the Champions League level opposition he played and how Atletico Madrid also played. Moving on, we're going to get into really the core value here of Sime Vrsaljko, and that's in his defensive ability. You look at everything here, and all of these stats are brought to you guys. Most of them for Vrsaljko is brought to you by FBref, which is Stats Bomb. The rest is brought to you by Y Scout. The pressures above average, tackles, he's in the over the 90th percentile, the number of tackles he wins. Interceptions, maybe not the highest volume, but everything else is incredible. The number of shots blocked, the number of clearances, the number of aerial duels won. I mean, this guy wins a lot. His ground duel, defensive duel success rate is over 60%. He wins more than half of his aerial duels, and he's involved in a lot of them too. The volume is great. This guy is relentless, a very aggressive defender. This is the type of player that fans fall in love with. He leaves it all on the field. We've talked about a guy like Zinkernagel who also exerts a lot of effort. Sime Vrsaljko is a poster boy for a guy that's all effort. Maybe not the most skilled individually in terms of his flair, but has the basics, knows what he does well, and just leaves it all on the field. Gives you 110% every game. Covers for his teammates all very well. When he's not breaking forward, also he stays stringently in that defensive line. I told you guys in that player profile that he really sticks to the scheme. He's very tight, very disciplined. This is something Pedro Martins will enjoy. As we know, he's very strict. He likes to have discipline in his lines, and everything that you see, he stays very tight in those lines. Only gets forward when he has the ability, when he's safe. You don't see him getting beaten by players on the opposite end. He doesn't usually get sucked too far forward, maybe because he's not the most overlapping wing back, but we don't see him caught out a lot in those situations, and that's in a top 5 league. What I saw within that context, within how he wins these balls and within how he's anticipating this movement, guys, he is incredible at anticipating player movement and player actions. There's countless number of possessions I watched where he is watching the player with the ball and the runners, and then the second they go to hit the ball, he just seems to know where it's going. I mean, maybe he just knows the player well. He's very good at anticipating. Maybe he watches a lot of tape, but it's more than one instance. I mean, it's more than half of them. It's a pattern. It is a definite pattern that you see. This guy knows what he's doing. When he understands his positioning, he's almost unbeatable back there. I only saw 1 or 2 instances where he got beat, whether from a through ball or a cutting pass. He's pretty good, and I only saw maybe again 1 or 2 instances where maybe he overcommitted or he misjudged something. I mean, what you may not see with him in terms of his skill on the ball, he makes up for it in so many other things, especially defensively. This guy should have no problems in Greece. I don't know who in Greece is going to give him a problem. The skill on him, this guy is somebody that will really shore up our defense for Champions League. He is that level of player. This guy is incredible. Now, what we're going to get into next, of course, is a segment that I always bring up, and it's usually regarding some type of vitriol regarding a player. So in this case, could Vrsaljko be what we've been missing since Omer? And I know that through this deep dive, some of you were thinking, Adi, this just sounds way too good to be true. You're talking about this player like he's gonna be one of the best right backs we've had. And yeah, you're right. I've been talking him up. I didn't see a lot of negatives aside from the fact that maybe he's got no flair and maybe he won't be able to take players on as well as, Omar could. But he can offer us so much. The caveat here is, and this is going to be the risk, if he stays healthy. There's a reason why Olympiacos was able to get a player like this. And it's a similar reason to why we were able to get a player like Tomas Vaclik in goal. And the reason is he's a big risk. He's a health risk. I urge all of you, go to Transfer Market. Forget, you don't need a big stats platform like we use to check this out. Just go on Transfer Market and look at this guy's injury history. He has had some nasty injuries, plus surgeries, knee injuries, surgeries, back, muscle. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy has been getting injections to play, especially through injury. I mean, it is bad. I didn't see a season the last few seasons where he actually made it through a whole season without having some type of extended break. And that's a huge risk. This guy's good. This guy's getting paid pretty well. 30 years old, going on 31. So he's not, I wouldn't quite say he's at the twilight of his career, but we're getting him right at the peak where the downturn usually begins. Usually when healthy players at their peak at 30, you get a good couple years, 30 to 32, and then if you're lucky, that's when the downturn happens. So we're getting him at about what you can expect the peak of a player's abilities would be. But there's a lot medically, a lot of baggage here. And he is going to get hurt. I mark my words. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm knocking on wood right now. Whatever we have to do, to pray that it doesn't happen. I hope that that's the case. But I'm telling you guys, the odds are more than likely he's going to get hurt for an extended period of time this season. Hopefully it's not during any important Champions League matches, but it's going to happen. And we better hope that his backup, which as of right now is Gonzalo Avila, is ready to step up. Or we better hope that Coach Pedro Martins knows how to rotate him, because this guy's injury prone. And if he runs him into the ground like we know Pedro Martins does, it's not going to be good. We'll get a month or two out of this guy, and then he's out for months. Then what? Big Bam sitting on the bench, hurt all the time? That doesn't help. Another Gary Rodriguez we do not need, except this one is much higher stakes. This is in a position where we've really needed reinforcements for a long time, and we're taking a pretty big gamble here. Player's got immense talent. He can do great things with us. But his health is going to be the biggest risk of all. So as long as he stays healthy, mark my words, guys, this guy will be fantastic. He will be our next Torosides. But that's if he stays healthy, which is a huge risk. And I can't guarantee you that he will. Like I said, the odds are he's going to get hurt. And combined, he'll probably be out for at least a month and a half. If what we saw the last few seasons is, if that continues to happen, that's what we're looking at. High probability. So all that being said, the value proposition. Was this a great signing? In theory, absolutely. Absolutely. We are getting a fullback that competed in one of the top 5 leagues. And he played well. He was loved by the coach. He's played well his whole career. This was a huge move for Olympiacos. Great for us to get him. But his value will be determined by his health. He stays healthy. I just can't see how he's not successful for us. I can't. The intensity he brings, his passion, the way he leaves everything on the field. Olympiacos fans love warriors like that. Guys like David Fuster, even Oleg for his faults, leaves everything on the pitch despite being run into the ground. We love warriors. We love guys that leave everything out there. Guys like Todosides. So if you're worried that he might not be like an Omar, that's fine. He doesn't need to be like Omar. As long as he overlaps when the transition calls for it and he's sticking to the plan, which he is, he's very tactically astute and he's very disciplined. That's fine. What we needed was a real wingback that could not just sturdy up the defense, but could do what he was told to do. And that also looked like he gave a shit. Not like Kenny Lala, who didn't seem like he cared. This team needs people that are willing to just give everything for this. And we didn't see enough of that last season. Well, Vrsaljko, if you watch how he played for Atletico Madrid, oh yeah, he's definitely all about that. I'm excited. You guys should be excited. But just in the back of your minds, remember his health. This is going to be the biggest wild card. This is the first deep dive where I'm not super concerned about some technical flaw or other flaw in his gameplay. The flaw here and the thing that could bite us in the ass is his health. And that's what's here to look out for. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive. I'm very excited for Sime Vrsaljko. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that these injuries don't come back to bite us because this guy's a great player. And it looks like we have more deep dives on the horizon, more rumors coming out. But more importantly, preseason in Austria is over. We've got Maccabi Haifa around the corner, only 3 weeks away. A lot of stuff coming up, guys. A lot of deep dives, a lot more content coming up. So if you haven't done so already, don't forget, like and subscribe. Hit the bell at the bottom so that you can stay up to date and notified every time we go live or every time we have one of these deep dives. And as always, most importantly, help us grow this red and white community. This community is built by the fans for the fans. That's what Gate 7 International is. We're fans just like you are, and everything we do reflects what the fans want because that's all we care about. So until next time, guys, I'm Adi. This is Gate 7 International. See you soon. Mágica, o fumar,